I want you to hit me as hard as you can.
Hi, I'm Luke Ryan for JoBlo.com and welcome to Movie Endings Explained, where we'll be taking a look at some of the more ambiguous and discussed movie endings that have left audiences debating their true meaning long after the credits have rolled. This time on Movie Endings Explained, we're going to be looking at the 2001 Cameron Crowe film Vanilla Sky, starring Tom Cruise. Fresh off big success working together on Jerry Maguire, the director and actor team were keen to make another film, though something wildly different from Jerry Maguire. It was Tom Cruise who saw the 1997 Spanish film Open Your Eyes and eagerly showed it to Crowe. They decided to remake it, although Cameron Crowe likes to use the term remix, and insists that Vanilla Sky is a companion piece, likening the two films to songs, with Open Your Eyes being the classical music original and Vanilla Sky its rock companion piece. The story follows David Ames, the rich owner of a publishing firm in New York, who inherited the company and lives out a bachelor lifestyle. After a fairly standard introduction to David, we suddenly cut to him telling his life story to court psychologist Dr. McCabe, played by Kurt Russell. David is being charged for murder, and is wearing a prosthetic mask to cover his face. We retrace the steps of his recent past to find him falling in love with Sophia, played by Penelope Cruz, after he's introduced to her by his author friend Brian Shelby. Cruz also played Sophia in the original film Open Your Eyes. David's newfound love with Sophia doesn't sit too well with his possessive former partner Julie, who traps him in the passenger seat of her car and drives it off a bridge. Julie dies and David is left severely disfigured, practically ruining his life. For a man so proud of his own image, he can't bear to be seen by anyone, and even has the mirrors removed from his home. Eventually, he works up the courage to face Sophia again. They go out with Brian and David gets blind drunk and ends up left alone to wallow in the streets. When he wakes up the following morning, Sophia has returned to him and they become a couple again. David undergoes plastic surgery and has his face surgically repaired as if the accident had never happened. For a while things seem perfect, but he begins to have nightmares that his face has become disfigured again, and he meets a strange man in a bar who tells David he can control everyone if he wanted to. One day, Julie returns, insisting to David that she is Sophia. He soon finds mementos and photographs of Sophia replaced with Julie's face. Unable to tell what's real or fiction, and who is Sophia or Julie, David smothers and kills Julie. Or was it Sophia? After David's session with Dr. McCabe ends, he is taken to a company called LE, or Life Extension. Here he learns that he has in fact been cryogenically frozen, a service he opted into, his mind set inside a lucid dream after he killed himself. From the point that he woke up after the drunken night out is the Life Extension lucid dream kicking in and replacing anything real that happened afterwards. The first real clue that everything after that is a lucid dream is really in the Vanilla Sky itself, above David and Sophia as they walk away down the street, a detail that David pointed out to Sophia earlier in the film on a Monet painting.
That is the real thing. His paintbrush painted the Vanilla Sky with canvas. My mother's.
But the lucid dream was not going to Life Extension's plan, as David's subconscious started losing grip on the reality of the unreality his mind was initially tricked into believing was real. Elements of movies he'd watched and iconography that had stuck with him throughout his entire life informed the lucid dream as it began to morph into something different. And so at the conclusion of the film, David is given a choice by the mysterious man he met earlier at the bar, Ventura, or tech support, to either be reinserted into the correct lucid dream or to wake up. David has been frozen for 150 years and is given the option to take a literal leap of faith off the top of a building to jolt himself back into reality. David's fear of heights is the key trigger to help him on his way to break free from the lucid dream. After he realizes that most of his romance with Sophia was imaginary, and merely the beginning stages of the planned perfect reimagining of his life, David decides to take the leap.
Relax, David. Open your eyes.
The film doesn't offer us anything post-lucid dream beyond David's eye and the confirmation that he did manage to wake up in reality. If you choose to believe that he did, that is. And here's the main interest in Vanilla Sky's ending. While it's a mind-bending film where both the audience and David are questioning what's real more and more as it progresses, by the end, the story is laid out in a fairly straightforward manner. There are some clues along the way, such as the previously mentioned and titular Vanilla Sky, but also how perfectly things go for David right after he wakes up in the street. Previously, there was no hope to reconstruct his face, and yet suddenly it's doable and he's fixed perfectly. Yet, Cameron Crowe welcomes interpretation to proceedings, and at one point stated there are 5 ways to view the ending of the film, without going into specifics. One is, of course, at face value, believing everything you are shown from the beginning of the film to the very end. Another is that age-old theory. It was all a dream. I mean, the title of the movie is Vanilla Sky, which is a device in the film to explain why David was dreaming. Could it be that the whole film was a dream too? Maybe. As both a nod to the original film but also a recurring theme throughout Vanilla Sky, the words "open your eyes" are spoken to David multiple times. David's car also has a registration date of the 30th of February 2001, a day that doesn't exist. However, Cameron Crowe has explained that that was an accident, but all the same, a happy one. Serendipitous fuel to the fire. But I don't personally find this answer very satisfying, or more importantly, all that interesting. It was all a dream just feels phoned in as an idea. Another theory is that Vanilla Sky is actually Brian Shelby's book. While Brian is David's best friend, he also judges him at times, and at one point tells David he will never know the pain of being the guy who goes home alone. The borderline aggressively vain David gets completely stripped down throughout Vanilla Sky, both physically and emotionally, and learns lessons that Brian would no doubt want David to face. In a way, it would be Brian putting David through a revenge. If this were the case, Brian would also be living vicariously through David in writing this story. For as much as he chastises David at times, he too would like to be the guy who doesn't go home alone. I like the outside of the box thinking of the film being Brian's book, but it also feels like it's trying too hard as a theory. You could also look at Vanilla Sky as the portrait of a clinically insane man. Up to a point, the events of the story could be real, with David under psychiatric evaluation from Dr. McCabe, but when it gets to the point where no more time is left, and David begins to bang on the glass in the interrogation room, his mind slips into complete delusional fantasy. Yet another angle is viewing the story as David's hallucinatory dream following the car crash, stuck in a coma, and building a continuation of his life inside his mind, one that rapidly descends into nonsense. That being said, the tantalizing idea of Vanilla Sky being taken more at face value, ending on the concept of David awakening in 2151 to see a completely different world, or not, is still the most intriguing to me, though I love the idea of viewing a film like this in different ways, shaped by your own experiences and ideals, and even faith. In 2015, Vanilla Sky was released on Blu-ray, including an alternate ending. Though it doesn't offer any earth-shattering differences, Dr. McCabe keeps pleading to David to not jump off the building, and as David is about to hit the ground, he shouts that he wants to wake up. The only real significant difference as far as the very ending of the film is concerned is perhaps the final line of dialogue, which is slightly different. Take a listen, followed by the final theatrical version.
No! Don't do it!
David. You're gonna be fine. Relax, David. Open your eyes.
I'm not quite sure what to make of the differences there in the lines of dialogue, whether it's a different voice, whether that means anything. I'll leave that to you to read into if you feel like it. Cameron Crowe has said a lot of things about Vanilla Sky, never shied to talk about his work, but the most important and key quote about the ending of the film from him is this: "As deep as you want to go with it, my desire was for the movie to meet you there." What did you think of the ending of Vanilla Sky? Do you take the story at face value, or do you dive deeper into the possibilities of its finale? Let us know down below, and thanks for watching.